Welcome back, everybody. Dren 608 plays. We're playing Unconditional Surrender using the Vassal module. This is the C.U.C.U campaign, stands for Cripple the UK, Collapse the USSR, which my opponent did very well of. He has a whole lot of people on his side. He's just, all he has to do is wait me out. He has to just last until the last turn of the game, which is July of 1945. We are doing March here, so we will have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more turns after this. So there'll be at least roughly 16. I think when we get into fair weather turns are always really long, but when you start getting back into the poor weather turns, there won't be as much to do. Although with the Soviets in the war, it does make a difference because there's a lot of units to move on the Eastern Front for both sides. So it kind of extends out every turn. So we've only been doing a turn a night that we play. And we play roughly once a week. My opponent introduced this to me, and I have found it to be a very good meta to play with these current rules. The updated living rules are trying to mitigate this sort of automatic try for the Germans to just go down this path because it tends to work very well. If the Germans get a few breaks, they're pretty much like 80% chance of winning or more, which shouldn't be. It should be a 50-50 kind of shot. And I think they've gone too far with the new rules, but we won't know that until we get there. There's some things that you just simply cannot do, short of phenomenal luck in the diplomacy game, which I think is a little bit too... They pushed it too far against the Axis because of what they can do here. But we'll see how that works out. Anywho, we're going to go ahead and get started. We are in March here, and the weather was poor everywhere. So we're going to move on forward here. This is us locking in. There's no declarations of war because there's no neutrals. He has Sweden, Romania, and the Netherlands. Yes, he got the Netherlands, believe it or not. He never declared war on the Netherlands, and then after the Soviet Union collapsed, he got the Netherlands. I got Portugal. All sorts of weird things happened. Go back and watch the series, and you'll see how some of that shenanigans worked out. He's got Sweden, Romania, Italy, Spain, Turkey, Yugoslavia, Iraq, and Finland. Yes, he got Iraq too. Got Iraq when he conquered Syria, and then because Syria actually came in the war, and then not only did they come in the war, but then they, when they died, they put a pro marker in Iraq and immediately pulled a pro-axis marker and activated it. So I was down fighting in Kuwait and Basra from like the get-go, even before the Soviet Union was actually being attacked. So it was not fun. I picked up Ireland in this diplomacy phase just because I didn't have anything else I could play. I think it was a political failure and I had to play it there. Portugal, of course, Vichy he declared on, Hungary, Poland, Denmark, Belgium, Bulgaria, Syria, Norway, Greece, French North Africa. These were all his conquests. I activated Ireland and Portugal and forced him to attack there. So he has a ridiculous number of... He has 10 conquered countries. 10 conquered countries does wonders for me in the strategic warfare phase. But he has enough pluses on the west versus the western side that it doesn't really matter anymore. All right, so we're going to go forward. We do the economies. I'll pull up the national track so you can see us move the counters around. Hello. There we go. So he's got 38 production points with the Germans, 12 with the Italians, 4, 3. Everybody's at their full. The British are at 26 because they are down 3 lost factories to his. I not only own 7 because he owns the Middle East, which is 2 of my factories. Which I always thought was odd that there's 2 factories in the Middle East, but okay. I think it's representing more than just the 2 factories, but and the Soviets are at 38, same as number as the Germans. So now we're, I think we were looking around to see if he wanted to give any points to anybody. I don't think he did. We're going to strategic warfare for the Soviets, versus the Soviets, I should say. And I don't remember. Oh, I think we went to combat commitment because we both had things to play. So we're setting the die roll modifiers up here to be added to the die that we rolled. And he's always the attacker and I'm always the defender. So I have 4 for the Soviets because he has 10. It's every fraction of 3 that you get +1 for the Soviets. So he's at 10, so I'm at +4. He's at +3 because he has an airplane up here in Bergen. And then he has Basra, Kuwait area, which gives him an extra +2. So we go into whether we're going to do things, and neither one of us commit. So we just roll the die with our pluses. I did my job and got a 10, but he did his job and got a 6. So I chipped him a factory. It was like, yay, hey, look, I did something. Then we're going to reset this. The attacker's up to 6. He's got 1 for Bergen, 2 for C-Zone 7 port. He's got 1 for Suez and then 2 for Basra. So he's got +6. And then I had gotten through 2 bombing runs last turn. So I should be still at +4. And then, what's going on here? Oh, and then we did go to combat commitment. We both committed because he wants to get his factory back. He wants to stay at maximum. And I'm just trying to recover my factory, so that's why I'm going ahead and playing an ultra here. Reason why I did that is I had 2 in my bucket, and he had 2 subs, so it was kind of like, this is a no-brainer. We're going to both play this because we don't want to give either side the advantage in this case. So I rolled a 1 +4 is a 5, half down to a 3. He rolled a 2 +6, which is 8, half down to a half for the ultra, which makes it a 4. So we both recovered a factory. So he went back to his maximum, and I'm almost to the maximum I can have with the British. Okay. And then this was my ultra's going to come back in 2 turns, and his sub's going to come back in 1. So he's going to have an advantage on me at some point here. All right. Now we go to strategic movement. I don't remember what he did. So I think he took... Oh, he chose not to do any strategic movement. He thought he was pretty much where he needed to be. And I didn't really have any. If you look over here at the Soviet Union, where's my little box thingy? There it is. If you look over at the Soviet Union, we're all pretty much right at the front line. So nothing's really gonna, there was nothing really to move anywhere. So now we're into the actions for the Axis. And I believe we're going to be doing most of our actions up here. Is where he's going to do things. Now, I will say that while we're playing this, we are discussing between the 2 of us what is the best move for the Axis to prolong, to give them longevity, and then what's the best counter for the West. When I came into Norway, I was hoping for like 2 or 3 turns of poor weather, so that I could make decent assaults and then, be pushing down towards Oslo and maybe out towards Sweden to kind of threaten things. I got quite a few severes in these weather turns. Severe means I can't do anything because without my aircraft, I'm nothing. With the Western Allies, it's something that you will come to find. The Western Allies depend on their aircraft to do anything. Without their aircraft, which is what severe does, it says no aircraft. So without their aircraft, they just get stomped on. I think that was me just straightening out some things. So he goes after my airplane here with German aircraft there. This is the problem with going into Norway. If you don't secure this hex right here, you're dependent on separate supply lines. You also should have someone go take Narvik, which I was just not able to get because I went in there with too many sorties on my fleets and things. So it was a whim and a prayer, hoping that I could make something happen, and it just didn't kind of work. So you're going to see him pretty much take me out. So he's at basically a net of 0, and I am minus 5-4, I think. So he rolls a 3, and at minus 4, I needed to get a 6, which I didn't do, so I got two sorties. Then he went after me with... He just used another sortie since I only had one, and I couldn't hurt him, so he just made it go away. Then he took that airplane against... there's a British aircraft here. So... And then he's minus 4, and I'm minus 4, plus 1 for British. Minus 2 for the weather, minus 2 for sorties, plus 1 for British, so I'm minus 3. And I needed to get a 6th in order to do 2 sorties on him, which I didn't get. So we just ring up both of us, and I should be up to 4 sorties. Why is this 0 out of 2? I should be at another sortie there. I think I missed a sortie. Alright, so then he decided that he wanted to end this nonsense here. So he comes at me. So he's minus 2 for weather, but he's plus 1 because he's an aircraft against a fleet. He's going after my fleet. My fleet is a net of minus 1 because it's plus 2 for sorties, or plus 2 for being American, minus 2 for the weather, and then minus 1 for sorties. So I'm at a minus 1. He's at a plus 1. He got a 4. I got a 3. So it should have been 1 sortie. Then he went after me again at 0. He rolled a 5, and I was at minus 2 now, and I rolled a 2, so then he got a DD3. Or DD2. And then he took that airplane there, and flew it up to Denmark, and then went after me with... We talked about what was the best one to hit with. He said hit with that airplane, or this airplane. We were talking about which one. And so he went after me with the one that's, because I'm minus, ridiculous. I'm minus 4, and he's a net of 0. Because plus 2 for German, and plus 1 for fighting a fleet. So he's at plus 3, minus 2 for the weather, minus 1 for the sortie. So he's at 0 to my minus 4, and he just blows me up. And then he was like, well, I think I'll just leave him alone. I said, but you can take him out. Just pick an airplane and just go take out the convoy, because the convoy's terrible. So he's minus 1 to my minus 3. He rolls a 5, which is a 4. I needed a 6 to not take 2 sorties, so I took 2. And then he's like, just keep running him up, because why not? So he got a 2, which only did 1 sortie on me. And then he just said, you know, we can just finish this off. Now what he's done is, because these things are all at 6s, I can't move them. So this guy's going to have to go to limited supply. He's not going to be able to be supplied this turn. And at this point, it's I was having problems supplying people over here. And pretty much the whole entire Norway invasion thing is a bust. So I think he's... because he was here. So he went 1, 2, 3, 4 to be behind the line, because I'm in, I'm going to be, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 if I really want to do something. But he's going to stop that too. And he takes that armored unit and moves it there. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now, without any air or whatever, I don't have any way of even getting close to his +4 or +3, I guess, in poor weather. I would be at +2, -1, 2, so I'd be a 0 to his +3. Even with an airplane, I'd only be +1, so I'm not going to be able to push that armored unit anywhere. And then he marches the Swede down to where he's, like, relevant. And he decided that instead of moving this guy to here, that it would be better to be sitting on the junction itself. 27, 26, 27, 26. Oh, and then he brought another Luftwaffe up here so that he's got me definitely overwhelmed with aircraft. And in this aircraft, he thought about doing something. He said, nope, I'm going to go ahead and move the fleet. I decided to let him go. Because of the poor weather, I don't have any chance of really hurting him. And in this airplane, we talked about, should you go ahead and just hit the bomber? So he's at minus. Now, to do the calculation here, the bomber is +1 because it's British, then -2 because it's a bomber, and then -4. So he's -7, so net -6, but he's attacking me in England, so I get an extra +2. So that's why I'm at -5. But it doesn't really matter. Best I can get's a 1. He's coming in at a 0. Just going through the mechanics. He rolled a 3, which means he's going to get a DR2 on me, knocks me out. He takes one sortie there, and then takes a second sortie to fly back into central Germany. It's one of the. This is one of the 2 magic hexes, as we talked about. This is one because with this unit, if you go Alt R, I think it is. That's his range for interceptions, and if you do this one, that's his range for interceptions. So these 2 fighters between them cover just about every city in central Germany that my bombers can reach. Okay? And that's why that's the other magic hex, when you can have 2 German fighters sitting back here. Now, we both think, I'm going to see if it's going to be true. It was the last time I tried this. We both think that having majority of the German aircraft, because he has 6 of them here in central Germany and Denmark, having the majority of the aircraft facing the west is the right play, because the inherent +2 and stuff for the Germans in the east slows down the Russians even when they're using aircraft. At least it has in the previous games that we've done like this. And this, the Americans and British, if they get all their aircraft here into England, they have 6 fighters and 3 bombers. So they have 9 aircraft. And if you have 6 aircraft, or 7 if you bring the one from Norway down, 7 to 9 is you could pretty much negate the whole Allied concept of getting across the channel and staying there is just overwhelming the German air power. If he's got 6 or 7 airplanes all within strike range of anything I invade, he doesn't really worry about it, because he can negate my air so I can't move forward, and then he can move in whatever he needs to finish me off. That's our concept anyway. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, he moved the Spanish guy into Casablanca, so I at least have to roll a die to take it. And then he was moving the convoy. Then he moved them. Now he's trying to get a convoy up here to Norway for the Italians so that they can help supply all this nonsense up here for him. So he came out with the whole shebanger here, escorting the convoy. And I was like, well, I've got an unused, fleet here, home fleet. So let's try it, right? I'm a 0 and he's a -32. So we tried it. I rolled by 6. I said I did my job. He rolled his 2. So he took 3 sorties because I got a DD3 on him. But this convoy is still will still keep trying to move. So now I have to try and attack him at -1 because of the sortie. And then I rolled a 1, so he gets through. So then he goes there, and I go ahead and I think I try to hit him with the aircraft, trying to interdict him somehow, cause him to have some, problems. And I rolled a 2. So the first attack didn't work. And then I rolled another one where I rolled a 3. So I did his fleet in. And then I did some more sorties on the convoy. And he just lands everybody in Antwerp. And then he picks up the convoy and moves out there. And I'm like, all I have is Force H because he knocked these guys out. I could try to hit him at, if you're at net -4, you can't stop him. You're not going to even give him an extra sortie. He's going to take a sortie for moving, and you're not going to get any extra sorties on him. Unless I wanted to hit him once with Force H and hit him once with the one up in Trondheim, then I could have had him be at 6 when he's done. But at this point, I thought it was just not worth it anymore. So, I don't know, did I attack him? Why am I only -3? It shouldn't be -3. It should be -4. +2 for British. +1 in the... +3 -3. Yeah, I needed a 6. If I'd have hit him with a 6 there, he would have taken 2 and he would have been forced to stay in C-Zone 11. That's why I did that. I had a 1 in 6 chance of hurting him. But didn't. He only went to 5 sorties and then he's done there. And then he starts trying to figure out what to do in the east because I'm kind of pushing on the Knifer. And I was like, this was me showing him how he could take the Romanian and put him there. And then this infantry unit and that guy can kind of swap. How he can kind of move things around if he wants. Just put the miners out there to slow me down in poor weather and then let the German army be in reserve. And he's like, I kind of like what I'm doing here. So we were talking about, this is us talking about all sorts of possibilities and stuff. And I can't remember what he ended up deciding doing, so I'm just kind of going through the... So he moves that guy to there to keep me from getting across the river easily. Puts the Yugoslav in there. He moves the German unit there because I can't move into this hex. I have to, take it back, forcing someone to not be adjacent to me. And then he went ahead and did an assault here just to see if he could get away with forcing me to retreat. We're in combat commitment. He did not. I did. I threw in an airplane, I believe. Yeah, I threw in an airplane. So I went up to being +2, and he is also +2. He's +2 for an infantry unit one of these guys is +2, and then an extra infantry makes him +3. -1 for weather. He did his job. He rolled a 6 + 2, which is an 8. And I rolled a 4 + 2, so if I hadn't thrown the airplane in, it would have mattered, because he would have forced a retreat, because an 8 to a 5 is a retreat, but an 8 to a 6 on the combat table, an 8 to a 6 is just enough for me to get a diamond and not lose the hex. So that was something. And we're just kind of keeping the salt markers out here because that seems to be a good place to... We have one for every direction, so it's easy to just grab them. And I think he was looking at how can he... He was like, well, I really don't want this guy here and this guy here. It's like, well, some of this is supply issues that you need to worry about. He's worried about... I am pushing here in the north, and he's kind of light on physical number of units. So he's trying to figure out how to get people where he needs to have. Again, this is us discussing the best moves. So he's like, that's one. You could move an infantry up and then throw, Vassal into the hole or whatever. I can't remember. He was worried about getting someone into that space, but he moved back these guys this way. And that armored up there, so he's got sort of a semi-good line. And then he moved the guy that was in Königsberg, he just moved him up onto that mountain space. Prevent any, if I get lucky and get a DD followed by a DD, and then I could just run and grab Riga, now I have to fight an army to get through there. And he was worried about this guy, becoming a liability. And I'm like, but I have to get there. It means I have to force a unit and force a unit. I'm not going to get there in poor weather. In fair weather, yes, he's a big liability, but not in poor weather. So he decided to put that guy in front of Kiev because then he can retreat into Kiev. And now he's got a pretty solid line. This is us talking about, where can I go? And I'm like, him there just makes a whole lot of sense because even if I win an assault on him, he retreats into Kiev and so what? And then he put that Romanian there to kind of back up the line for now. Now we're doing supply. He did this a little early. He's taking this off, this naval unit, and it's like it really shouldn't be taken off yet. So he has that guy. Trace supply. Convoy, I think. Maybe it's his airplane. And he lets the Africa army go to low supply, so he'll only be a 0. So even if I were to attack him, I mean, I'm -1 for the mountain, -2 for the rough terrain, and -2 for the, or -1 for the mountain, -1 for the rough terrain. So that's -2, and -1 more, or -3, -4. It's like -4. I can't get enough pluses in there to even have a chance of doing anything. Then he was trying to figure out who to supply. That one is, in poor weather, is very unlikely for me to do anything, but this is fair weather because it's in the desert, so I will always have fair weather there. And he was trying to figure out who to supply, and since he moved that other convoy, he can really only supply 2 units on any given turn and be able to replenish. So we were arguing on where the best places to put these were, and he says, I'm going to leave him in limited supply. Source. And then we go to the Western Actions phase. So I was up here, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's like, there's no way I can save this, so to speak. So what I did is I pulled out the convoy with the British airplane. and he chose not to intercept me because in poor weather he wouldn't be able to do anything to me. So I hit there, and I said, I'm coming back. What do you want to do? He's like, no, I'm not going to mess with you. So I went ahead and dropped myself off in eastern North America. And I took... Oh, this is this is funny. I had gotten an area. I had done something like this. So I moved a whole bunch of stuff, so we had to move it all back. So you're going to see us moving things back to where they belong. Got to watch out for that in the Vassal module if you get an area blocked thing up that you can... And I just went back. I said, let's go back and see where did I make this mistake. And it's like right there. Okay. And then I did... I don't remember what I did here. That convoy there, picked him up, went there. Got the Irish army out of the way, went and moved the guy. Basically, I moved him into... Moved him into Cork so that I'd have a invadable unit that can go from 7 into 8. I'm going to do the same thing when I'm here in a minute. I'm going to set up Plymouth to do the same thing, I think. Then I took the carrier along with the convoy. Said, do you want to hit me? He's like, no. So I went into Trondheim. Moved the British unit into Trondheim. And I think I did some... Oh, I moved the Med Fleet into the Arabian Sea, so I have a viable invasion threat there possibly next turn. And now we're doing bombing runs. So we use the bombed markers to show the path. And I got to there, and I think he went after me and rolled a 2, so he failed. And don't think he chose to go after me with the... +2, -2, -2. He should have been at -2 and 0. He should not have gotten... I did that wrong. Because the first guy that attacked me was the 0 guy, and now he's attacking me again with the same plane. Oh, he's attacking me here. That's right. He's attacking me on this run. And he stopped it. So then I said, okay, well, let's use the other American bomber. And it hit me, and he's like, no. Because here he's -2. So he needs a 5 or a 6 to stop me. And it would go up to 3, and he wants to have everybody at full the following turn. And I just went ahead and got that. And we'd take the 3 hits and we'd put them in the mountains so that we don't have them covering up units and things. And we come out of that, I go into my supply subphase. Everybody's in supply except for here. Oops, I'm doing back. I'm dumb. So I went out and I said, I'm supplying these guys. You want to come hit me? He's like, no. I said, okay, I'm done. He went to low supply. He went to no supply. I went to no supply with the Americans because it's not likely he can actually eliminate them because of the rough terrain, and it's got like 0 strength guys. I mean, if he really wants to, I suppose he can try to, but I was looking at it from the standpoint of if I can survive at low supply like that, pull the British out next turn and have him just die at no supply. And this guy can do something similar, just, dying as he is being eliminated at no supply instead. And now we go over to the Soviets. Lots of things going to happen over here in the Soviet Union. But I really don't think a lot actually gets done. What's this? Why are we back here? So we went ahead and tried to take Kharkov. I did not play the Partisans marker, so I was a +1 to his +2. Oh, I think we're in combat commitment. He did not commit. I did. So threw in the airplane, got me up to +2. And then I threw in a heavy artillery to make myself +4. +2 to +4 to +2, I should get a retreat, right? I rolled a 5 + 4 is a 9. Hey, that's good. And he rolled a 3, which is the worst he could do because I got a DD out of it. So I was expecting to actually have to make a second attack with these two units, and I didn't. So I was like, okay, I'm very happy that I got that with only spending that many production points. And then, of course, my artillery is coming back in 6 turns, so I won't see it till sometime late in the summer. So that's one of the bad things about those heavy artilleries is I tend to roll 6s with them. So we go ahead and try to take on Vladislav. 1, 2, 3, -2, so +1. And he's a 0. I go to combat commitment. He's like, no. It's Vassal, how do I care? And then I threw in an airplane again, I think. Not sure what I threw on here. Yeah, I threw in an airplane. I rolled a 1 + 3 is a 4, and he rolled a 5. He said, no, Vassal will hold. Which was very annoying. I tried to get maximum attack here. I think I end up at a net +3 and I throw in an airplane. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1. Because it's 2 for this guy. He's elite in an armor, so that's +1 in pour for armor, and he's an elite. So he's 2. Shock and pour are +2s, so that's 4. And then an airplane makes 5. -1 makes me a 4. So +4 to +2. I rolled an 8. I did my job. I rolled pretty good, and he rolled a 5. I said, no, I'm not moving. So it's getting very frustrating with the Soviets. I decided to go ahead and go for this. Threw down a Partisans on this armored unit. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. -2, so I'm at +2, and he's at +1. And I think I throw in another airplane. Did I not throw in an airplane? I did not throw in an airplane. I don't know what I was thinking. So 4 to 4, and it didn't work. I don't know why I didn't throw an airplane in there. And I moved that armored unit down there just to kind of straighten up the line. Did I do another attack down here? Yeah, I was trying to get up the extra +2 here. So again, I'm at +3 to +2. We both committed in this case. This is the one place he's like, this is a Schwerpunkt. Because this could possibly lead to, you know, break out across the Sniper next turn. So I went a sortie, he threw a tank, so he went up to +3, I went up to +4. An 8 to an 8, just nothing happens. So. And then I think I was just about done. Yeah, I was at 16 points, and I've got lots of airplanes to do. So I think I have 4 airplanes to do. So I'm activating a tank. I think I'm doing attack down here someplace. Oh, where am I attacking? Oh, I'm attacking his armored unit. So I threw a tank, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. -1 for 3, and he's a 3. So it's +3 to +3, +3, and he's a 2 to +3, so nothing happens there. And I'm done. I'm in a supply phase, everybody's in supply. I think I forget to roll for the partisans for a little while here. And then we went into the no supply phase. The Axis didn't have anything. I was doing the Western before I advanced the turn. I took off all these American fleets and aircraft. There's no point in trying to replenish them because he'll just pound them again. He's got 4 airplanes. He's going to pound me out of existence. He's probably going to pound me out of existence up here. The question is just whether he wants to bother or not. And then I forget to take off that no supply unit, but I do get it later. German Second Army moves to Axis eliminated. Where the heck was that from? Oh, I think he's moving. He was moving stuff off the turn track here. Yes, don't do that yet. No supply, no supply. And this is him doing his replenishments for the Italians, and then he does replenishments for all of his aircraft, bouncing around the map here. And then we go into the West, and I replenish a bunch of the Soviets, and the British rather. Of course, all the Americans. Did I remember to do the... Oh dear, I don't think I remembered to do... Yeah, I did. I did them. Okay. It's like I can't remember if I remembered to do those. And then this is the Soviets just, you know, bringing back their airplanes. And now we're into mobilization. Nobody had anything to build here. There's no diplomacy. We go to victory turn. Victory check, nowhere close. And end of turn phase, which is us getting stuff off the turn track and putting it into our buckets. So all of our stuff moves down into mobilization, and then we get, Germans get all their stuff back. He's got me outnumbered in submarines again. Soviets get back some of their stuff. The British got a Lend-Lease, which helps their... where's my mouse? So that helps them get another Lend-Lease factory in, so now they'll be at 10 plus 5, 15. They'll be at 30 next turn. Got a couple Americans that go in Eastern North America, and I have an upgrade. I can make the BEF a real boy. So the BEF counter will become a real armored unit, this second armored. And I believe that that's it. Next thing up should probably be us rolling for the weather. Oh, and we had forgotten, I had taken that one German army that I built, that I killed in the Soviet Union. We forgot to take off his 1 will point there, so he's down to 85 instead of 86. 85 will in going into April of 44 pretty much means that I have to capture every German city, which I don't think I can do. So we go to the weather phase of April 44, and he rolls a 6, 4, and 4, which is what he wanted. He would have rather had 6s in all of them, but he got severe in the east. So what that does is it does kind of, I mean, he could fly airplanes up here and bang on me, but he knows I'm leaving. So he may not bother. I don't know what he'll do in April. He may try and bang on those guys anyway. But he's pretty much resecured Norway. There's nothing I can do about it. It's poor weather down here, which means he'll get 1 attack on me. I'll move here, go to no supply, and then get removed. You can see I did finally take off the American unit up there. So yeah, he's sitting in a really good position. If I weren't doing this video to show you how how hard it is even through the summer of 44, barring a huge turn in the Soviet Union, he really doesn't have anything to fear from me. If I can get a huge breakthrough in the Soviet Union, then he'll have to pull some of that air back to the east to stop me. And if I can force him to throw some of that air back there, then the Western allies can probably land in France and stay ashore. If he has all 7 aircraft facing the west, coming ashore is just, we're wasting surprise attack markers at that point. If I'm going to come ashore, it'll be like, in Spain and Portugal or something. Like, take this port here and this port here to take away a couple of his +2s. And then, the German Air Force will be busy over here. And the idea is I need to keep the German Air Force busy over here so that I can try to get the Soviets to come up with some kind of breakthrough here. Unfortunately, I didn't get any units surrounded, so to speak. So now he can just take all 3 of these units, these 2 Germans, these guys here, they all can just pull back along the Dnieper line. And he can put the miners, behind the line in case I do manage to break through a German. And he's pretty much got a line that's pretty solid. The only place I have a possibility of pulling something off is up here in the north, which means I may need to shift another airplane up there to try and push through and grab at least Riga and Tallinn. I need to get across. I'm across the Duna and the upper Dnieper here, but now I have to get through these woods. If I can break the upper Dnieper, then I pretty much have a straight run right up to the weather line. And then if you can break through the north, then you're threatening to cut through the swamps and cut off all these guys' supply by just running down this way, which forces them to pull back. But if they're sometime in the summer of 44 that they pull back to this, roughly the start line here, down the, the Dniester, the Bug, and, up through Brest and up to, like, into Lithuania. If he's holding a line somewhere in here, in this area, like somewhere from here to here, if he's sitting there, like, right at the end of summer, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he's not going to lose. I need to be in here somewhere by the end of the summer to have even a modicum of a chance of pulling something off. And I need like 3 fair weather turns in a row. I need May, June, and July in 45 to pull that off. A poor weather in any one of those turns will stop me. And then the other thing is there will not really be a threat from the west because he has all his aircraft over here and just stops me. So I need to get a huge breakthrough to force his aircraft to come fight the Russians, fight the Soviet Union. If I can get him to fight the Soviet Union with his aircraft, then we have a chance of being able to get a decent landing in and, exploiting into France and possibly forcing him into a late two-front war where we can get close. We're still going to have to take every city. He's just got too many will points. I could destroy his entire army, and I'd still have to take every city. His entire army is only worth like 30 production points or something like that. All the regular infantry and armored units. He's got like 5 armored and 16 or 17 actual, will point infantry. So if I could somehow destroy them all, that would only be like 23 or 25. Something like that. And it's like, that's a lot. Destroy the entire German army and you still have to capture every city in Germany in order to win. That's scary. But that's the whole point of this strategy. And it's one of the reasons why they fixed some of the diplomacy rules, because we found a way to jury-rig the diplomacy rules that give you the countries that he has now. Now it's going to be much harder to pull this off. Pulling in Italy and Turkey is going to be almost nearly impossible, short of drastic bad luck on the Allied side. So it's going to be a much harder road to go down with the Axis. And I think you're going to see far more Allied victories now than you have in the past. The Germans just aren't going to be able to get that huge boost because they aren't going to have the Allied pool to help them. People say, "Oh, it's not that important." It's like, it most certainly is. You won't be able to get Spain on the collapse of the USSR in most cases, because you need to get 3, in the new rules, you need to get 3 political successes to activate Italy, Turkey, and Spain. Getting Turkey in at all is going to be very hard, which means this domination of the Middle East is going to be less happening. You're probably still going to be able to come in and take out Egypt. So you're going to sort of cripple the British, but you're not going to be able to get the extra bonus for getting out here, because it's going to be you're not going to have extra Turkish units to help you take out Syria, and if necessary, either conquer Iraq or activate it, depending on if Syria comes into war or whatnot. And then the same thing is you need 3 things to bring in Turkey, so you're not going to see Turkey. You need 3 things to bring in Spain, so you're not going to be able to bring in Spain. So you're going to have much more traditional World War II game. I kind of agree with the whole Spanish thing, because Franco was definitely not interested in getting in the war for any love for money or whatever. He's just like, I don't want to do that. He was still recovering from their civil war. And Turkey was another one of those that played the Axis and the Allies and the Soviets all off against each other to try and get more and more stuff. The one I don't necessarily agree with is the whole Italy thing. The idea that the West can even get Italy in the war is just anathema to me. There was no way Mussolini was going to side with the West because of what they had done to him earlier in the decade, when he wanted to go expand into Ethiopia and all that, and basically they told him, no, you can't have, colonial aspirations. And so he was very anti-West. I mean, he played lip service to them to help lull them to sleep so that Germany could just go and pound them into the dust. He had dreams of making an Axis lake, and the only people that were going to help him make the Mediterranean an Axis lake was going to be the Germans. So I really think that the optional rule that they have in the main event, which says that Italy cannot activate as a Western power except by a declaration of war from Germany, I really think that would have been suffice enough. You don't need the 3 pro markers to activate them. I think that rule, just making that a permanent rule, that Italy just can't join the West. Making an optional rule that they can join the West, but if they do, then it's 3 pro markers or whatever. So anyway, that's just my take on the whole Italy thing. Italy, I don't think ever would have joined the Western powers, short of like France and Britain just defeating the entire German army on the French frontier and the Belgian frontier, and invading Germany, then I think Italy would have backstabbed Hitlerian Germany to go and grab some terrain in the Alps or whatever to aggrandize himself and be on the quote winning side. So that's my take on the historical situation in 1939. We'll see how it plays out. I think needing three pro markers here in Rome, you're going to see far more games where Italy's not even in the war. Because all it takes is a couple bad pulls from the Axis or a couple really good pulls by the West or the Soviets. And, it's going to end up being like 5. Because like right now, on average, in order for me to get Italy, it usually takes me 3, sometimes 4 pros. Because like I'll pull a pro and then the West will pull a pro and stop me. And then I have to start over. So right now it's taking me 3 or 4. Now it sounds like it's going to take me up to 5 pulls to get Rome in, because I figure I'm going to lose at least one of the pros that I get in there. That's a lot. When you count the number of countries that you normally can conquer, you only end up with like 6 pro markers in the 3 original pro political successes. So over time, including the conquest of France, you're probably only going to see 6 more pro markers put in. So that's a grand total of 9, and the cup starts off with 9 other things other than the 3 pro markers. So at best, you can get it up to a 50-50 shot, and markers are going to be pulled by both sides. So there's area C's. A single political failure sets back your entire program for getting Italy in with the Axis. It propels the Allies or Axis getting something from the Allies or the Soviets if one of them pulls it. But it's not nearly as bad with those things needing to be 3 pro markers to activate. It's not nearly as bad to pull a political failure, so you'll probably see it happen more often. For the Western and Soviets, they don't care as much because things can't just suddenly pop up on their front. It still takes some time to get them worked in. Okay, well, that's enough of me babbling. Like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. You really like to see, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notify bell, be notified when I upload videos and or schedule streams. If you have any questions or comments on this, please leave them in the comment section down below. My opponent is DavidAmidon. That's his Board Game Geek handle. He's very good at this game. He's one of the higher rated BGA players right now as well. So he definitely knows how to make this system work to his advantage. It'll be interesting to see what he comes up with when we get to the new rules. But be that as it may, we will continue this next time. We'll go into April of 44. It's going to be lousy weather, so it's probably going to be pretty fast. But then hopefully in May and June, we'll start getting some fair weather, and we'll see if the Soviets can pull off anything in the east in order to make the West be able to actually invade somewhere. All right. Okay. Until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.